Hey, this is Demonic Intellect, and this video I'm going to be showcasing my entire PlayStation 2 collection. I'm just giving you a heads up. I have a lot of games to go over, but I'm going to do this as quickly as possible. So let's get it started. The first few games I wanted to show off belongs to the .hack series. I have .hack Infection, .hack Redemption, and .hack Mutation so far. As a bonus, a DVD comes with the first couple of games in the series. What I plan to do is beat each game first, then watch the DVD later. I haven't beaten the first game yet, but basically what you do is you're playing in a MMORPG and you're hacking in each world or dungeon. It takes some getting used to because I've never played MMORPGs, but I'm starting to get the hang of it. Next up, we have the game 187 Ride or Die. The two main characters are voiced by actor Lorenz Tate and rapper Gorilla Black. Basically, you go around competing in races against the CPU. You can shoot at them with guns, bazookas, and leave landmines on the road and completely take them out of the race. You can unlock new cars. Also, Hector, who's been in everything, is in this game. Also, there is a lot of usage of the N-word. Otherwise, there's nothing special about this game. It's just okay. Okay, the next game I have is Ace Combat 4. I have not played this yet. This is a flight simulation game from Namco. The only reason why I have it in my collection is because I found it for cheap at a thrift shop. But I plan to play this soon to see how it is. Okay, now we're getting into one of my favorite games for the PS2, which is Aggressive Inline. If you never heard of this game, it's kind of like Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Instead of skating around on a skateboard, you are on rollerblades. You skate around from level to level. I think one of the levels is a Hollywood movie lot. There's also a shipyard and a theme park. You ride around completing missions. The missions are fun and inventive, and I really like the level design in this game. You can skate as pro skaters or hitting fictional characters like a robot, mummy, I want to say, and a schoolgirl. Also, this has a very good soundtrack. The songs range from 90s rock and hip-hop. I wish there was a sequel, but the company that made this, Xxx, went bankrupt soon after this game came out. Oh, here's another game that's similar to Tony Hawk Pro Skater. It's called Airblade. I got it for cheap. It's worth the price. Basically, you go around riding a hoverboard from level to level. The bad thing about this game is the time limit. You really can't afford to make mistakes in the later level. If you do, you'll never complete the level on time. Otherwise, it has a good story. Matter of fact, the story is probably better than the gameplay. This also comes with bonus features that shows in-depth interviews with the creators of this game. So I really like when they include the bonus features like that in video games. Next up, we have the first music/rhythm game in my collection. It's called Amplitude. In this game, it lets you remix pre-made hits from Run DMC, David Bowie, and I think Pink has a song on here. I didn't get very far in it, but I remember playing the demo disc and I had a lot of fun with that. Okay, next up in my collection is N1 Street Ball. This is the first sports title that we've come to. I don't really play sports games, but I do like basketball. This game doesn't include the manual, but mine came with the DVD that shows all the tricks that the basketball players do. I didn't have one particular favorite N1 Street Baller, but I really like Escalade, Skip to Malu, and The Professor. Now we have a somewhat rare game, Ape Escape 3. I haven't played this yet, but I've played the first Ape Escape game. You just run around chasing monkeys, try to catch them in your net. As you progress through the game, you can unlock new gadgets, such as a RC car, this little helicopter glider thing that enables you to fly. I believe Ape Escape 3, there is a brother-sister duo that splits up catching the monkeys. I could be wrong about them being brothers and sisters, but I can't wait to play this. I'm still looking for Ape Escape 2, but that's rare. If I can't find that, then I'll just skip right to number 3. Now we have a game called Aqua. Aqua, I believe it's a puzzle game. I haven't played it. The only reason why I bought it is because it looks weird. I like weird. Here we have Arcana, Twilight of the Spirits. This is a RPG. I haven't played it yet, but I do own the Arcana collection on the PS1, but I haven't played that either yet. I'm waiting to play through the collection on the PS1 before I jump into this game. There is another Arcana game for the PS2, but I don't have that one in my collection yet. The next game is Arcana Hard. This came out late in the PS2 lifespan, I think in 2008. This is a 2D fighting game that has an all-female cast. I haven't played this in so long, I can't remember who I played it with. I only beat the game once, but I remember it being fun. Now we have Armored Core Nexus. I have not played this yet, but I found this at a garage sale. Ivan, if you're watching this, let me know if this game is good or not. I just know that you go around in a mech robot and you complete missions. I also have Armored Core The Silent Line. I'm not sure which game came out first. If you do, please let me know. Now we have the first compilation game I have in my collection. This is the Art of Fighting anthology, where you can play Art of Fighting 2, and Art of Fighting 3. I believe in the first game you can only play as Ryo Sakazaki and Robert Garcia, but when you play the other games you can play as more characters, including the main character's sister, Yuri. This is a fun series. Asterix and Obelix kick buttocks. Don't know much about this game since I haven't played it yet, but I will let you know soon once I play it. Okay, I haven't played this game yet either. It's called Atelier Iris. This is an RPG, and the main gimmick of this one is alchemy. I know there are other games in the series, but this is the only one I have so far. Automodelista. This is one of the more laid-back racing games I've ever played. The bad thing about this one is that it seems like the roads are all slippery in every level. I don't really like the physics, but I like the look of this game. The cell shading graphics are amazing, and it's an okay game. Now we have Beatdown Fist of Vengeance. I only beat this game once. There's 5 characters you can play with. I beat the game with the capoeira lady. Basically you go around beating up people and recruiting them into your game. Okay, here we have the rhythm game Beat Mania. I played this, but I didn't have a good time because I was playing with a normal PS2 controller. In order to play the Beat Mania games, you need a Beat Mania controller. It basically has a little turntable and a keyboard. I couldn't even beat the first stage. It was a reggae song and I couldn't get the hang of it with the controller I was using. So as soon as I find a cheap Beat Mania controller, because they usually go for a lot online, I'm giving this another chance. 25 to Life. I have not played this yet, but it looks like it could have been another Grand Theft Auto clone or used to compete with the Grand Theft Auto series. I do know that it comes bundled with the soundtrack that has early 2000s gangster rap on it. Now we have Choro Q, which is a racing RPG. I played a little bit of this. It seems like it's a fun game. It's a little weird since the default car that you use has 3 wheels and it's purple. I played a little bit through the story mode, and it seems like you have to do a lot of grinding to get better parts for your car. Overall, it seems like it's a fun game. This next game is one of the rarest PS2 games of all time. It's called Blood Will Tell. I believe it's based on a manga series. You play as a samurai who gets their body parts stolen, and you have to fight enemies to get them back. Now we have 2 Castlevania games that were released for the PS2. Lament of Innocence and Curse of Darkness. I haven't beaten any of these games yet. I only played a couple hours of them. Matter of fact, I never beat any Castlevania game on any system. Maybe I should play these soon. Cold Fear. This is a horror survival game where you're stuck on a ship and you have to shoot a bunch of zombies. I haven't played this yet. Maybe I should consider streaming this before the Castlevania games. Okay, now we have Bloody Roar 3. There is a Bloody Roar 4, but I don't have it in my collection. For those who are unfamiliar with this series, this is a fighting game where the characters morph into animals. Who did I like playing as? I like playing as Long. He used to turn into a tiger. I wish I owned 4, but it's too expensive. You'll never see a game come out like this nowadays. This is called Bmx Xxx. This is sort of similar to the aggressive inline game that I showed you earlier. Instead of doing missions on rollerblades, you're doing it on bikes. You can play as strippers that are topless. I think that's why it got the M rating. Plus there's videos you can unlock where you see girls stripping, but they don't show that much in the videos. This has crude humor. This has a rock and hip hop soundtrack, just like the aggressive inline game. The best song in the game, hands down, was Nerd NERD Lap Dance. Okay, this is a game called The Bouncer. This is a beat 'em up brawler. This is one of the shortest PS2 games. You can beat this game in a matter of a few hours. This is like my 3rd PS2 game that I've ever owned. And a lot of the characters are designed similar to some of the characters in Final Fantasy and the Kingdom Hearts games. I have a lot of memories playing versus mode with my neighbor. Despite the bad rating that it got, I like this game. I still play this from time to time. I consider myself a rhythm game fan, and how can I call myself a rhythm game fan if I don't have this in my collection? This is Britney Spears' Dance Beat. You dance along to Britney Spears songs. You start off as pre-made characters, but you can unlock Britney Spears at the end. I remember getting this for cheap, and I remember Stronger being the hardest song that you had to dance to. Worth the money. I paid like $6 for this. This is called Bujingai: The Forsaken City. I haven't played this yet, but the gameplay that I saw kind of reminds me of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Oh, this is a good one. This is Bully from Rockstar. You go around sticking up for bullies, but you end up becoming a bully in the process. This is kind of like GTA, but instead of a grown man, there's a kid in boarding school. Rockstar needs to stop playing and release a sequel already. Capcom Classics Collection Volume 2. I play this all the time. I play this in the morning, the evening. You know what? I'm lying, because this is still sealed. I haven't played this at all yet. I guess I'm waiting for Volume 1. This is one of my least favorite fighting games from Capcom. It's called Capcom Fighting Evolution. I just found out that this game was rushed. There's not that many characters as the other Capcom fighting games, but on the bright side, we are able to play with Red Earth characters for the first time, but then again, there's outdated sprites for the characters. Now here's a good fighting game. This is Capcom vs SNK 2. Here you get to duke it out with some of your favorite SNK and Capcom characters. I had the original on PS1. My favorite characters are King, Chun-Li, and Kim. Now here's probably the best Crash Bandicoot game on the PS2, Crash Twin Sanity. This is where Crash Bandicoot teams up with Neo Cortex to beat the level. Corvette, a Corvette-inspired racing game. That's it. This is a dog's life where you go around doing dog things like peeing on fire hydrants, marking your territory, running from dog catchers, burying things, biting people. You know, the usual. Let's go through this quick. DDR Extreme, DDR Extreme 2, DDR Max, DDR Max 2, DDR Supernova, DDR Supernova 2, and DDR-X. Once you played a DDR game, you played them all. My favorite one would have to be DDR Extreme 2 because it has the song Move Your Feet by Junior Senior. This is Dance Factory. It's sort of like DDR, but you can use your own music from any of your CDs to dance to. Now we have Dark Summit. This is a snowboarding game. It isn't as flashy as SSX. The environments that you snowboard in are gloomy as hell. You gotta avoid toxic waste on the course. Otherwise, it's a good snowboarding game. So this is an RPG called Dawn of Mana. I believe this is the last game that Square Enix put out for the PS2. The game looks good, but it plays bad. Mainly the camera is what makes it bad. This is Death by Degrees. This is a beat 'em up game from Namco. There's also a Tekken 5 demo disc that comes with it. This looks like Tekken Force Mode, but it doesn't play like Tekken Force Mode. The game stars Nina Williams. You might run into other Tekken characters, and you can also do puzzles in this. To be honest, this game isn't that good. It's cheap, that's why I got it. And now we have the Def Jam series, Def Jam Vendetta and its expensive sequel, Def Jam Fight for New York. These are wrestling games where you can pick a rapper and fight to the death. Well, not really, but you can get knocked out. The rappers include Method Man, Ludacris, Fat Joe, Snoop Dogg, Lil' Kim, Kimora Lee Simmons, even though she's not a rapper. My favorite character to pick was David Banner, simply because of his haymakers. It seems like his haymakers come from halfway across the screen, and it always hits. Def Jam needs to make a comeback, or at least be ported to the newer consoles, but we know that's not going to happen due to the licensing issues with the music. But Fight for New York is the better of the games. These next few games I picked up at a garage sale recently. I haven't had a chance to play them yet, and I just set them down here because I didn't have anywhere else to put them. They are Cool Borders 2001, Sims 2 Pets, Sega Soccer Slam. Oh, but this next game I have played. This is called Downhill Domination. This is a racing game where you can pick a BMX rider and race down a mountain as fast as you can. You can attack other riders. You can pick up power-ups that'll boost your speed. You can perform tricks. This is a real fun game. The next game is Defender. This is a shoot 'em up from Midway. This is a remake from a 1980s classic. The only difference is that it's in 3D and there's cutscenes in between levels or missions. This is a tactical RPG. It's called Disgaea 2. This is the only Disgaea game I have in my whole collection. I don't really play tactical RPGs like that. The only reason why I got this is because it cost like $10 and I heard the story and the characters were funny. I haven't played this yet. This next game is Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure. This is a skateboarding game where you can play as Disney characters like Tarzan, Woody, Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story. But my favorite character to play as was Rafiki from The Lion King. If you can see the little boy on the cover, is based on an actual boy that entered the contest to be entered into the game as a playable character. Little Romeo is actually in this as well, and the soundtrack for this is unexpectedly amazing. This is Dead or Alive 2 Hardcore. This is a fighting game that I recently played for the first time. It has jiggle physics. My favorite character to play as was Yane, the chick with the purple hair. Not because of the jiggle physics, it's because she was really fun to play as. This is Dragon Quest VIII. This is a classic RPG. There's versions that come with the demo disc for Final Fantasy XII, but mine didn't. It looks like I still have the receipt for this in here. I paid $12 for this. Anyway, any RPG fan that owns the PS2 will have this game. This is what you would expect an RPG to be like, as long as it is good, and vice versa. DT Racer, a generic racing game. There's not much to be said about this. This is a RPG from Atlus called Dual Hearts. You play as two characters. Their names are Rumble and Tumble. Basically, you enter the NPC's dreams or nightmares and defeat a boss. Whoever boss you defeat will affect their personality in the real world. It's a good game. It's fun. This is Dynasty Warriors 5 Extreme Legends. I haven't played this yet, but if you played the Dynasty Warriors games, you know what to expect. This is a hack and slash. You're just one character and you're go against 1,000 enemies. You know, the usual. This is Dynasty Warriors 5 Extreme Legends. I haven't played this yet, but if you played the Dynasty Warriors games, you know what to expect. This is a hack and slash. You're just one character and you're go against 1,000 enemies. You know, the usual. Evergrace. This is a RPG that came out during the launch of the PS2. I haven't played this yet, but I am looking forward to it. We have some Evil Dead games. Evil Dead Fistful of Boomstick, Evil Dead Regeneration. I've only played Fistful of Boomstick. I got into a boss where I couldn't beat because I kept dying and the game kept restarting me with 1 HP, which is lame. So because of that, I decided to not to continue with the game. I'm not sure if I'll even play Regeneration based on what happened with the first game, because I did not enjoy that boss. I did not enjoy starting off with 1 HP every single time. I'll probably just end up selling these Evil Dead games. So it looks like I made it to the end of the row. I'm going to take a quick break and move to the next row. iToy 2. This is the game where you dance in front of the iToy camera and play mini games. Okay, now we have Fatal Fury Battle Archives Volume 1 and 2. Volume 1 contains Fatal Fury, Fatal Fury 2, Fatal Fury Special, and Fatal Fury 3, while Volume 2 has Real Bout Fatal Fury, Real Bout Fatal Fury Special, and Real Bout Fatal Fury 2. I played Fatal Fury Volume 1 my freshman year of college, and I just recently picked up Volume 2 a couple months ago in a garage sale. And now we're about to get into one of the games that the PS2 is known for, which is Final Fantasy X, but I also have Final Fantasy X2 and Final Fantasy XII. So Final Fantasy X is the very first Final Fantasy game that I've ever beaten back in 2009. I've only played through it once, but I had a good time with it. From Besaid Island going to Xanarkand, using Auron, he's the best character in this, and fighting Seymour's bitch ass, I can't stand him. Those are all good memories. Final Fantasy X2, I still haven't beaten this. I played through most of the game. I was about to go to the final dungeon, but I decided to go to an optional dungeon, and I kept dying at the hands of a Tonberry, and I just gave up. And I ended up YouTubing the ending later. But I will say 1,000 words, that song, it slaps hard. Final Fantasy XII is a game I haven't beaten. I played through the intro, but after that, I just wasn't feeling the gameplay. It seems like it had a good story though. Freedom Fighters. I never played this game. Don't ask me what it's about. I'm guessing it's a shooting game because there's a guy with a gun on the cover. Honestly, I can't even remember where I got this. Frequency is a music/rhythm game, sort of like the game I showed you earlier, Amplitude. You have to remix pre-made tracks from artists. My favorite song on this was Oroshi Baseline. It's a good game. What do we have next? Oh, this is Galactic Wrestling. This is based on the Fox Kids show Ultimate Muscle. I haven't played this yet, but I know this is a wrestling game. I never watched the show. I remember playing a demo this, and I remember this one character that you see here about to jump on the guy, the guy with the head and the big lips. Can't remember his name, but there are other wacky, crazy looking characters in this game I can't wait to try. So I'll be playing this one soon. I haven't even played this either. This is Gauntlet 7 Sorrows. I got this for $4 at the pawn shop. This was the only complete in-box game that I saw at the pawn shop one day, so that's the only reason why I got it. I should play this soon. I don't know what it's about, but I know what this game is about. This is Get on the Mic. We got the rapper Jadakiss on the cover. This is basically a karaoke game. I played this a little bit. I sang 2 songs and did decent. Those songs were Missy Elliott Work It and Kanye West Through the Wire. I should play this on stream one day. Ooh, here we have an underrated gem. This is Guitaro Man. This is a rhythm game where you go around playing the guitar. The gameplay is sort of similar to Parappa the Rapper, but you use the analog stick. So in the levels, there's different genres of music. It consists of traditional rock, K-pop. There's even a D&B level. But my favorite level would have to be with the pink-haired girl. Her name is Kira. That song is amazing. If there was any song that you would want to play at a funeral, hell, even a wedding, is a song with Kira. I think it's called the Legendary Theme. I remember playing a demo of this back in the day, and I sucked at it, but I kept playing it, and I eventually was able to beat it, and I never forgot about that game. So I came across this game back in 2009 for $35. I immediately jumped on it. I had a feeling the price for this game would go up, and I was right. Today, the price for this game, it's worth over $100 now. Oh, here's a weird one. This is God Hand. This is a beat 'em up made from Capcom. This might be the last game Capcom produced for the PS2. Anyway, this is a beat 'em up that has weird controls. The story is also weird. It does not take itself serious at all. I'll play this soon one day. Shout out to Willie DC28 for reminding me of this game. I seen him stream this. It looked fun and hard. The Godfather. I haven't played this yet. In fact, I haven't even seen any of the movies. I got this in a lot of 25 games on Craigslist. Should I be watching the movies first before I play this? Gran Turismo 4. This game has the best graphics on the system, hands down. The graphics are comparable to some of the games on the PS5 today. This is a driving game. I haven't played this fully yet, but I'll get into this soon. Okay, now we have the game that changed everything. Of course, I'm talking about Grand Theft Auto 3, where you can kill people, steal their cars. You can do whatever you want. That's what it seemed like at the time, but the later games later expanded upon that. This was the first Grand Theft Auto game I played. I first played this at a friend's house. I hate to say it, but I got interested in the series after watching him beat an old woman with a shopping bag, that NPC with a baseball bat. And I was like, yo, what is this? Let me try. Yeah. Karens and mothers hate this series because they claim it makes their kids want to commit crimes, commit murder. I mean, I haven't done that yet, but yeah. I also have Vice City and San Andreas. San Andreas is my favorite one, but Vice City, that game is a whole vibe. The games are pretty much the same. It just takes place in different time period. But Vice City takes place in the 80s, and I love their soundtrack. It just takes me back. Even though I wasn't even alive through most of the 80s, I can vibe with all the music. There isn't one bad radio station in the game. And the reason why I say Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is my favorite one is simply because of the jetpack that you can get. I don't think there's any other Grand Theft Auto game that has the jetpack cheat. And I used to play this all the time. I think this was the last game that I played before my PS2 broke. By the way, I went through 4 PS2s so far. Either the PS2 got stolen or it just broke. I also have Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories. These are the two I haven't played yet. I found these at a garage sale and on Amazon, but I'll be playing this soon as well. Okay, let me tackle the stack of games that's up here. We have Guilty Gear Asuka. Wait a minute. Let me pull out the other Guilty Gear games that I have. Alright, like I said before, Guilty Gear Asuka, Guilty Gear Xxx Accent Core, I think that's what it is. Guilty Gear X, Guilty Gear Accent Core Plus, and Guilty Gear X2. Don't ask me what order they came in, but I received all these games at the same time in a lot on eBay. I was the only one who bid on them for like $40. They're all complete in box, I think, except for 2 of them. But I've only beaten Guilty Gear Asuka. I think that's the one where the witch is the boss. What is her name? Ino? Yeah, that witch was hard. It took me like almost an hour to beat her. I only played that game once, and my fingers were destroyed after beating her. But I will eventually play these other games. I love fighting games, but I'm not that good at them. Gungrave is another game that I found at a garage sale. I haven't played this yet. I'm guessing this is also about guns, but the style is a little bit more anime, maybe cartoony. So I'll try this game out soon, even though I don't like shooting games. Here's an underrated gem. Firefighter FD18. I just beat this game for the first time. If you're looking for games out of the ordinary, this is the one you should play. You play as a firefighter named Dean, and you basically kill fires. You spray your water hose. You think it's simple, but there's hazards in these levels, like the floor will crumble, the ceiling will come down and try to crush you, steel beams, there's killer robots trying to attack you, and the bosses, the fire bosses, it's real crazy. But yeah, this game is relatively cheap, so play it if you haven't. Okay, this is the only boxing title I have in my collection. This is Fight Night Round 2. I found this at a thrift shop for a couple of bucks, but it's real fun. I like the mini games that you play. You can train your character to make them faster, stronger, all while playing a mini game. It's real fun. Okay, now we have Evolution Skateboarding. I love skateboarding games. I'm a big Tony Hawk Pro Skater fan, but to tell you the truth, I wasn't really feeling this. The controls aren't as good or responsive. I will say it is unique because this is the only skateboarding game that I know that contains boss battles. You can fight a giant crab and a tank. Also, you can unlock a certain Konami character. Here's a good platforming series. We have Jak and Daxter, Jak 3. I also have Jak 2, but that's disc only. That's in a CD case. This is possibly the best platforming series on the PS2. Either that or the Sly Cooper series. This really filled that void after that horrible Crash Bandicoot game, Wrath of Cortex. Well, it isn't horrible, but it definitely fell off. The series fell off in the PS2 era. Family Guy. This is like the first Family Guy game, I think. You can play as Brian, Stewie, and Peter. This is an action game. The only reason why I got this is because that Futurama game is going for some big bucks now, and since I can't afford that, I picked this up instead. Godai Elemental Force. I haven't played this yet. The reason why I bought this is because it was cheap and I never heard of it, but it looks like a hack and slash, maybe beat 'em up. Now we have some RPGs, Grandia 2 and Grandia 3. They should be both complete in box. I bought these at a garage sale, but I haven't played them yet, so I won't say much about them. This is Growlancer Heritage of War. This is a RPG about war, and that's all I can say about it since I haven't played it yet, but I got this from the local retro game store. But I will say I picked this up because it looked rare and expensive. Pro tip, if you're into collecting and you see a game that has anime looking characters on it, get it, because it could be rare and expensive years later. I said I'm not into shooting games, but why do I keep pulling them out? This is Half-Life. This is known as one of the best shooting games. It's also on the Xbox. I'm not sure if it's on the GameCube, but I do know that this is held in high regard, but I haven't played it yet. Hidden Invasion. I got this the same day as Godai Elemental Force. You guessed it, I haven't played this yet either. I know this is a beat 'em up. I've seen gameplay of this and it didn't look that fun, but I do like beat 'em ups. Hypersonic Xtreme. This is a racing game that takes place in the future, sort of like Wipeout and F-Zero. I think you can customize your own racetracks. I haven't played much of this, I just played it to make sure that it worked. iNinja. This is a underrated platformer where, you guessed it, you play as a ninja. You can run up walls, throw shurikens, do all the ninja stuff that you would expect. What I like about this game is that it switches up gameplay. 1 minute you're doing ninja things, then the next level it's like a super monkey ball level where you just rolling the ball, and then there's this mini game where you can fight as a mech robot. What I didn't like about this is the hub world. I got lost in the hub world trying to figure out which level I need to go to next. They're so huge, but otherwise it's a good game. Indigo Prophecy. Is this a mystery game? I haven't played this yet. I bought this on eBay last year for around 15 bucks. I think it's on the newer systems as well. Maybe that's why it was so cheap. Okay, now we have some anime-based titles. Inuyasha, Feudal Combat, and Inuyasha, Secret of the Cursed Mask. Feudal Combat is a fighting game, while Secret of the Cursed Mask is a RPG. I played a little bit of the fighting game. It's simple. I didn't hear too many good things about the Secret of the Cursed Mask. I heard the gameplay is really slow, but I like the Inuyasha series. Now, this is probably the most expensive platformer on the PS2. I'm talking about Klonoa 2, Lunatic's Veil. I got this back in 2019 when it was still $40. Now it goes for over $100, which is crazy because the game isn't worth that much in my opinion. You just use enemies, you bounce off of them to reach higher platforms. It's sort of like a puzzle game at the same time, but it's real cool. I wish this character would come back because I like Klonoa too. I think this is the last game in the main series. There have been spin-off games on the Wii and the Game Boy Advance, I believe. Here we have Kinetica. This is another futuristic racer where the characters look like mechs, but the women dress in thongs, and what can I say? I'm an ass man. Really unique for its time. Okay, now we're getting into the King of Fighters. This is King of Fighters 2000 and 2001. This is the game where they introduced K-Dash and Kula Diamond. Fun games right here. I also have KOF 02 and 03. Ash Crimson and K-Dash are on the cover. This game is pretty cool too. And then we have the first 3D King of Fighters game. This is Maximum Impact. The first disc contains the game itself, and then the second disc is just a bonus DVD that contains interviews with the developer. Like I said before, I wish more companies would bundle things like this with their games. I really like watching these. Now we're getting into the first King of Fighters game that I've ever played. This is King of Fighters 2006. I played this a lot during my freshman year of college. I was real good with Kim Capwan and Shay Lim. This game has one of the worst / best costumes you can unlock for each character. There's some really cool ones and then some really crazy looking ones. And this game also has good single player content. You can fight in bonus stages, bonus areas to unlock extra costumes and stages. King of Fighters 11. I have not played this yet, but they go back to the 2D style in this game. The only reason why I got this is to fill my collection. I played or owned all of the other King of Fighters games on the PS2. This is the last one I picked up for the series. And then we have King of Fighters, the Orochi Collection, or the Oroshi Saga. This contains King of Fighters 94 through 98. 98 is the best one. These next games that we're about to get into are probably my favorite games on the system. This is Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix Plus Plus. I first got Kingdom Hearts back in 2002 for Christmas, and I loved it ever since. I got Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix Plus Plus in 07. This is a Japanese only game. I had to mod my PS2 in order for me to play this. This is the only reason why I modded my PS2. And out of all the games in my collection, I probably spent the most hours playing this series, or at least this game right here. I beat all of the Organization 13, the secret boss, the stupid mushroom task, leveled up to level 99. So I played this back in 2007, while the US will get this in a collection on the PS3 and PS4. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this series. Kaya Dark Lineage. This is a platformer that not too many people have heard of. It's a good game. It ended on a cliffhanger, which I didn't like because there are no sequels ever made for this, but it's a really good game. LA Rush. Is this a remake? It looks like a racing game where you can race all throughout California. I believe Twista, the rapper, is in this. I haven't played this yet. This game is fresh. This is Legaia 2. This is a sequel to Legend of Legaia, which is on the PS1, but I think they're all different characters. I haven't played this yet. I got this from a garage sale. This is a action game called Legend of K, where you play as a cat that knows martial arts. I believe there is a collection for the PS4 that includes this game. I have not played this yet either. Where my anime fans at? This is Lupin the Third, or Lupin is what they call him in the anime. This is Treasure of the Sorcerer King. This is another game I haven't played yet, but I got this from eBay for cheap. This is Med Maestro, another rhythm-based game I have in my collection, where you play classical music or you conduct classical music. What I didn't like about this game is if you mess up, it's hard to get back into good standing. It's easy to mess up and you have to be at a certain level to pass the actual level. But I did like the song selection in this game. A bunch of classical tunes that you recognize or might have heard in media. This is Manhunt and Manhunt 2. The first game is better. It has a better story, but it gets really hard at the end. You have to use stealth to take out enemies, all while a mastermind is filming this for their entertainment. And I think the second one takes place at a mental facility. I haven't played this one yet. Now we have Marvel vs. Capcom 2. This is one of the best fighting games ever. I borrowed this game back in the day from a friend. That was my first time playing it, but I recently picked up a copy in 2020, back when Trump sent us the first check. Yeah, I was not thinking about buying toilet paper at the time. All I was thinking about was Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and playing it. Let's see, this is a 3-on-3 fighting game. My team always consisted of Cyclops, Storm, and a random third character. This is the Maximo series. This is Maximo Goes to Glory, and the sequel, Maximo vs. Army of Zen. This is somewhat based on the Ghosts and Goblins series, or is it Ghouls and Goblins? It's hard, but not as hard as Ghosts and Goblins. I like the challenge factor in this. It isn't easy at all. But I didn't like the saving system. You have to spend the coins to even save your game. And trust me, this is a game where you want to save a lot. I didn't beat the first game. I got stuck at a boss. This is Mega Man X7, and to be honest, I really didn't like this game. It's a 3D Mega Man game. There are 2D scrolling sections of the game, and then it goes back to 3D. It just didn't translate well. You play as Axel and Zero at the beginning. That's right, you have to unlock Mega Man. Imagine unlocking the title character of a game now. It's crazy. But that's the end of my second shelf. I have 2 more shelves to go through. For those who are still watching this video, thank you for sticking with me. I will make a part 2 of my collection real soon. So STFM, stay tuned for more.